Southern Zhao and Northern Yan have been engaged in a bloody war for years, leaving their civilians destitute till the battles ended in a stalemate. This forced both sides to come to a peace agreement. However, this period of bliss only lasted for 10 years. A new king in Northern Yan has ascended to the throne and sparks up the tension by making hostile moves towards Southern Zhao. It is inevitable that war will break out. An envoy from the north presents their gift to the southern king at an important ceremony. The young monarch is intrigued by it, so he steps forward for a better look. The two presenting the gift toss it toward the king. Tane grabs a cloth, absorbing the substance which causes it to combust. Remnants still manage to get on the monarch's garment, making it to burn, so he isolates it and knocks the king back to save his life. All the while, the assassins use the handle as weapons to fend off the guards. The Grand Tutor Guan watches intently to see the outcome. Tine ends one of the attackers, and while the other tries to escape, she's mauled by a ferocious beast. The Grand Tutor Guan rushes over to alert the king that it's an act of war from the north, so they should resume the martial contest to select the new Grand Field Marshal and prepare for battle. He volunteers to help host the contest to ease the king's burden, to which he agrees since it's his idea. The Grand Tutor Guan makes his way to the tower and sends messenger birds to the 8 clans with an announcement to all warriors of the gathering in Phoenix City. Meanwhile, at Qingyuan village, Yilong rappels into the water serving station to collect some water when it's closed, but one of the guards spots him, and from their reaction, it's not his first time. They chase him around the mining village, and as Yilong elegantly evades them, he knocks one of the scaffoldings, which almost crushes a child. Luckily, Chu Hun is nearby, so he rushed over to protect the little girl. During the commotion, Yilong snuck away thinking that he has escaped with it, but Kang Chu got ahead and knocks him out with a wooden spoon. During that interval, the messenger bird arrives at the chief's home. He retrieves the note and quickly assembles all the villagers at the square to tell them of the martial contest. Everyone worries that war is coming based on the announcement. The community leader explains that 3 warriors from each clan have to be selected for the contest. They have a set number of days to reach Phoenix City with their clan totems. Any violation will lead to the punishment of the entire clan. He opens to ask if there are any volunteers. The crowd goes silent till Yilong shouts that he will go. All the while, he has been hanged upside down for his petty crime. The villagers chuckle as they don't take him seriously. The chief does some crowd control before asking Kang Chu to cut him down. The guard does so in a careless manner, causing Yilong to crash to the floor. This sends the crowd into a laughing frenzy. He gets up and rushes to the front, informing the chief that he's being serious about him wanting to fight for the village, and promises to bring glory to his clan when he becomes the Grand Field Marshal. This makes everyone chuckle again. Kang Chu volunteers, and Chu Hun also comes forward when he hears that the Grand Tutor Guan will be there. The chief accepts them, and within a short period, they prepare to leave. Yilong goes to his mother's grave to pray for protection. The chief reveals that his mother was pregnant with him when he came to them after escaping from the frontier. She was injured and died during childbirth, only leaving him with a broken comb. The mother was also not able to reveal who his father was before she passed. Yilong takes the comb as a keepsake for the journey. He also hopes that he might find some information about his past on the trip. The community leader turns to Chu Hun next to give him a broken glaive. It is disclosed that 10 years ago, they found him severely injured after the Great Battle, and he was holding the glaive, so the chief is returning it to him. The outsider gives a thank you full of emotion because that weapon has a lot of sentimental value. The trio set off on their long journey. They find themselves in the desert area. As Kang Chu discusses with the group, he doesn't pay attention to his environment, so he's stung and dragged into the sand by a giant scorpion. More emerge from the sand to attack the other two, but with Chu Hun's great spear work, he manages to hold them off and takes off one of their claws. When they realize the place is clear, he breaks the shell and removes the meat for them to enjoy later. They find no sign of Kang Chu, so they proceed forward without him, but they have a problem now because they are a man down. This violates the instructions, so the village is now at risk of being wiped out for disobedience. Chu Hun makes it known that it is paramount that they find a replacement. That night, they set up camp and cook the claw meat, but the staff wielder hits Yilong's stomach for overeating because it will make him lethargic, leaving him open to attacks. Yilong comes closer to Chu Hun, wanting to know more about him and the broken glaive. His older brother was the owner of the weapon and the commander of the Chu army. During the decisive battle against the north, the Grand Tutor Guan didn't send reinforcement when they needed it most, because he wanted the Chu army to fall. He felt like they had too much power. However, Chu's brother managed to kill the enemy's general in front of his daughter, but broke the glaive in the process. The Chu army eventually got defeated due to a lack of numbers, and Chu Hun was the only survivor. He is now looking to get his revenge for the betrayal. Back to the present, it is revealed that the Grand Tutor Guan is a loyal spy to the north. He gets a visit from his superior who wants to know when he's making his move. He reports that he intends to execute his plan during the martial contest. The following day, the duo comes across Jinggang, who is getting chased by the Lizard Clan for stealing their totem. They fire arrows at her, but she showcases her skill as she evades and blocks them. While Yilong watches like it's entertainment, Chu Hun notifies him of the giant sandstorm that is heading their way. They try to outrun it, but it catches them and almost takes out Yilong and Chu Hun when he tries to save the Lizard Clan's leader. They emerge after the storm, and the clan leader shows his gratitude for them saving him by giving them a horse. Yilong asks them if they have heard of the mystic forest that supposedly reveals one's past, but the lizard people just inform him that it's just a fairy tale. After a couple more days of travel, they arrive at Phoenix City, and the first thing they are greeted with is the bodies of the two assassins from the north. Yilong notices the tattoo on the lady's shoulders. He tries to look away, but Chu Hun makes him look to remind him not to fool around. They make their way to the fighters' rest area. Shortly after, Jinggang enters, and the Lizard Clan notices her and confronts her to give them back their clan's totem. They end up fighting, and her moves impress Tian, who manages to retrieve the totem when she gets closer to him. He returns it to the rightful owners, putting an end to the skirmish. A sudden call from one of the guards announces the arrival of the Grand Tutor Guan and his black beast. Everyone kneels in respect, but Chu Hun refuses to. Yilong uses some ropes to make him kneel, which saves him. Guan then gives a speech before leaving. The following morning, the dynamic duo decide to head into town and end up watching a brutal fight between two northern captives. The floor opens up to bid for her. Jinggang punishes Chu Hun and forces his hand up to make the winning offer. Bi Nu sees the glaive and immediately gets very angry. Before she is released, she takes the knife they were given to fight over. Since Chu Hun made the bid, he's compelled to pay. After the transaction, they leave but are stopped by Jinggang, who wants to fill the void to be the third person on their team. At this point, Chu Hun has figured out that she's the one that pinched him. As he dismisses her, she shows off her skill by knocking the fruit Yilong is about to eat and slicing it in half using his knife. She walks over to Bi Nu to give her half. The young man is impressed with her skills and wants her to join. After some persuasion, the staff wielder allows it. As they move through the street, Yilong sees a mysterious woman in a blue robe for the second time, but no one else can see her. That night, Bi Nu takes a bath and cuts her hair before proceeding to Chu Hun to try and end him. The guy senses her and comes out to defend himself. It is revealed that she is the daughter of the northern general that was ended by Chu Hun's brother. Even the scar on her face was inflicted by him when she tried to attack him. Chu Hun promises to allow her to end him after he gets his revenge by defeating Guan. The following day, the first trial of the contest commences. The teams get chained up together and must traverse a chain area while fighting each other. In the first few exchanges, a few teams fall to their deaths. They make things harder by releasing giant steel balls that take out a few more teams. Qingyuan Village ends up coming second, and Tane's clan third after they sacrificed a teammate's leg. The remaining teams are branded as losers in the face. The top 3 teams are given medals by Guan. Chu Hun sees this as the perfect opportunity to finish him, but his teammates manage to calm him down. The Grand Tutor notices his staff, so Chu lets him know that the general was his brother. All the while, Bi Nu was in the background looking to end Chu Hun as soon as he completed his mission. Later on, the group go to get some food where Jinggang takes Yilong's comb and teases him, but he tells her of the sentimental value and promises to buy her one if she returns it. Chu Hun has a moment and decides to give Bi Nu some proper food and promises her that both of them will get their revenge. Their lunch is interrupted when Guan sends one of the losing teams to attack them. The trio defend themselves, and that night they promise to tackle the challenges together. Bi Nu has a heart-to-heart with Yi long before she goes back to release the rest of the prisoners of war. She restrains herself from ending the one that was maltreating them. The following day, the remaining 3 teams are given the task of retrieving the egg of a dangerous monster. So they make their way to the island to do it. The team that brings it enters the final. As they navigate through the place, Jinggang almost gets poisoned, but Chu Hun saves her and gets poisoned instead. He tells them of the antidote, so they leave him to rest while they go to retrieve the egg and the cure. All the while, the other female team is taken out by some plants. Tane's team finds the egg first, but they drop it when the serpent monster attacks. The Qingyuan clan picks it up and navigates through the cave as they get chased, but they manage to lure the monster through a tight space that gets it stuck. This allows them to get some of the antidotes, which happen to be on the back of its head. They give it to Chu-hun, and it quickly starts to work. The team decides to help free the serpent, which dispels its hostility. Yilong presents its egg to it, and promises to bring it back when they are done, so it allows them to take it. As they head back, the woman in the blue robe watches them. The Grand Tutor congratulates them as Taein, the only survivor in his team, gets branded. He tells the finalists that they must fight each other to the death to determine who will get the position. The others immediately try to forfeit and give the win to Chu-hun, but it is against the rules. They head back to rest and try to figure out a way out of this situation when suddenly the blue robe woman appears to them all and offers a solution to their problems. She introduces herself as an old friend of Yilong's father and suggests they follow her to the Mystic Forest where they can get some answers. While there, it is revealed that Yilong is the son of the late king of Northern Yan. A special tattoo on his arm proves it, but it only becomes visible when it comes into contact with his blood. Chu-hun gets annoyed with this revelation, as the North is his sworn enemy. This causes a rift between the group, which makes them go their separate ways in the forest. While alone, Jinggang is attacked by Guan and his men. She tries to fend them off, but their numbers are too many. All the while, Binu finds Chu-hun and decides to leave her past behind, telling him that she's letting go of her vendetta. He realizes his mistake of abandoning his friends and tries to find Jinggang first. He comes to meet her in a bad state. Guan forces him to throw away his weapon, but still ends Jinggang and captures him. Yilong calls to them and finds Chu's staff and Jinggang at death's door. She informs him of the situation and gives her last words before dying. He buries her and makes his way back to the city where he meets up with Taein to inform him of Guan's plan to divide the clans using the branding. He then makes his way to the arena where Chu-hun is about to be executed. Yilong interrupts and suggests that he and Chu should fight so that he can reclaim the honor of the clan. The king agrees, but the Grand Tutor signals for a riot. The guards evacuate the king to his chamber, where Guan shows his true colors and locks them inside the hall. He then takes his lift up and releases oil, which sets fire to the king's palace. Tian returns with the other clans to help defend the place. Binu also returns and aids in the takedown of the ferocious beast, but dies in the process. Later on, Tian helps Chu-hun save the king, but does not make it out. All the while, Guan tries to escape on a glider. However, Yilong hijacks it and brings him down. Chu-hun quickly pounces on him and finishes him Mortal Kombat style. In the aftermath, the king makes Chu-hun the Grand Field Marshal and erects a giant statue of Jinggang to commemorate her sacrifice. Yilong only requests he returns the egg to the serpent as promised. The two later meet up at Jinggang's grave, where they say their final goodbyes to her. Yilong leaves half of his mother's comb with her and heads back to the north to reclaim his seat on the throne, bringing the movie to an end.